Welcome to this comparison between traditional and progressive education, where we explore how long-standing foundations meet newer, adaptive approaches. On the left, we have discipline, sequenced knowledge, and teacher-led delivery, while on the right, we see innovation, collaboration, and skills for real-world contexts. Over the course of these slides, we'll trace the historical roots, classroom shifts, and practical implications for learners and teachers. This slide highlights Dewey's child-centered philosophy and its intellectual roots, connecting Rousseau, Montessori, and Pestalozzi to a focus on experience. Dewey emphasized learning by doing, democratic classrooms, and education as social reform, and the graphics show a shift from passive absorption to active participation. Think of this as a historical pivot that reoriented schooling toward meaningful engagement and societal contribution. Here we contrast two core epistemologies: essentialist, teacher-centered transmission versus constructivist, student-centered facilitation. The traditional side privileges timeless knowledge and structured delivery, while the progressive side frames learners as creators of understanding through inquiry, reflection, and collaboration. The slide's visuals underscore how these different beliefs shape classroom practice, assessment priorities, and what we value as successful learning outcomes. This slide tracks the evolving role of the teacher from authoritative knowledge dispenser to coach, provocateur, and co-learner. In traditional settings, the teacher manages content, discipline, and a top-down power dynamic, whereas progressive models emphasize designing experiences, questioning assumptions, and shared responsibility. The image of a collaborative circle captures that shift, showing how facilitation supports deeper student autonomy and inquiry-based learning. When we look at curriculum and learning pathways, traditional models use linear scope and sequence and textbook-driven mapping that prepare students for standardized exams. Progressive approaches invert that flow by centering student interests, thematic inquiry, and interdisciplinary projects tied to community problems. The result is flexible pacing and iterative cycles of questioning, creating, and reflecting that aim to develop adaptive, real-world skills rather than rote recall. This slide contrasts conventional grading and ranking with assessment for growth and real-world application. Traditional systems rely on tests, quizzes, and gradebooks to compare students against fixed criteria, while progressive assessment emphasizes portfolios, exhibitions, peer critique, and self-reflection. The progressive approach focuses on process documentation and authentic demonstrations that highlight individual growth, transferable skills, and meaningful application beyond a single test score. The classroom layout comparison shows how space reflects pedagogy. Fixed rows and front-facing instruction support control, routine, and minimized interaction in traditional rooms, while progressive classrooms use movable, modular furniture, diverse learning stations, and maker corners to encourage collaboration and hands-on work. The visuals suggest that flexible spaces can prompt different interactions and learning behaviors, making room design a practical lever for pedagogical change. This slide compares conventional classrooms with progressive settings around autonomy and choice. Traditional systems follow predetermined schedules, uniform tasks, and limited student voice, which creates predictable pathways but restricted agency. Progressive settings introduce choice boards, project menus, and negotiated rubrics so students set questions, select resources, and monitor progress, aiming to cultivate intrinsic motivation, autonomy, and a stronger sense of ownership over learning. Traditional timetables break the day into segmented subjects and equal blocks that favor whole class instruction and predictable pacing. Progressive schedules favor integrated, longer blocks for interdisciplinary projects, flexible groupings based on skill, and off-campus fieldwork when appropriate. The point is that varied rhythms and contexts support deeper learning, allowing time for complex tasks and richer collaboration, instead of constant surface-level coverage. The meta-analysis slide summarizes comparative outcomes. Traditional models often outperform on standardized knowledge tests due to direct instruction and drill, while progressive approaches show modest to meaningful gains in critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. Importantly, effect sizes vary by implementation, fidelity, teacher training, and socioeconomic context, so results depend heavily on how well a model is executed and the environment in which it operates. When we consider learner development, both approaches offer benefits and risks. Traditional environments can foster discipline, foundational knowledge, and clear expectations, but may correlate with higher anxiety and limited autonomy. Progressive climates promote collaboration, growth mindset, and creative problem solving, yet may lack sufficient structure or external accountability for some learners. Navigating this spectrum means balancing consistency with opportunities for agency and deeper thinking. In closing, the final slide advocates for a purposeful blend and hybrid models that combine explicit skills and diagnostics with inquiry projects and portfolios. Context, learner needs, and cultural values should guide which elements to blend, avoiding ideological extremes. The goal is a student-centered synthesis, where clear skill development and assessment coexist with opportunities for inquiry, collaboration, and meaningful application in real-world contexts.